1851, two bands of Dakota transferred ownership of southeastern Minnesota to the U.S. This happened during the, I know there's a French way to say it, I don't know it. It's the Treaty of Traverse des Sioux, and along with its counterpart, the Treaty of Mendota. It gave 24 million acres of land to settler-colonists.
So in St. Peter, there is a Treaty Site History Center, and it sits right there along the Minnesota River. Joining us via Zoom today with a little bit more about the treaty and its ongoing impact is Darlene St. Clair. Darlene is an Indigenous research professor at the University of Minnesota. Darlene, thank you for being with us.
Happy to be here and happy that you're highlighting the Minnesota River today.
Tell us a little bit about the Treaty of Traverse des Sioux. I don't think it's a treaty that a lot of people are familiar with.
Yeah, I'm not sure that a lot of Minnesotans are familiar with any of our treaties, but I think that we should be. And this one is really impactful. Along with the Mendota Treaty that was negotiated in the same year, it really lost about half of the land in Minnesota, of Dakota land, to the United States and to Minnesota eventually. So this is really impactful. And one of the points that I like to make as a teacher is everyone in Minnesota is attached to a land cession treaty in some way. You live on lands, even if your family is a recent immigrant. Many of you are immigrants from a long time ago. Maybe your family immigrated to Minnesota in the 1800s, but you are attached to a land cession treaty that impacted Native people in Minnesota. And I think we want all of our Minnesotans to understand that.
Darlene, can you tell us where this treaty was signed and what the whole deal was? Was it a big fanfare thing, or was it just kind of the ordinary thing back then?
Well, it was a big fanfare thing because gathering of Dakota people so that they could be there for the negotiation really took some time. So this treaty was negotiated in St. Peter with two bands of Dakota, the Sissetuan and the Wahpetuan. So the Sisseton and the Wahpeton bands. At the same summer, the same land base is negotiated into another treaty at Mendota, which is in Mendota here in the Twin Cities. And these are places that you can visit. These sites where the treaties are negotiated there's opportunities for Minnesotans to visit there. So these were a big deal because it was a large amount of land. But I think one of the things that we also need to understand is the larger context. So for Dakota people, with the approach of new settlers from the east, a disruption to the ecology, it became very difficult for Dakota people to live their own traditional hunting, fishing, gathering. So that would have been the traditional Dakota economy. And and then with the fur trade economy happening in Minnesota around this time, it became harder for Dakota people to live in their homelands in the ways that they had, which meant that it got to be sort of a food crisis for Dakota people. So when this treaty was being negotiated, Dakota people were not in a very strong position because they were actually facing a future of starvation. So once there was some talk of negotiating this treaty, that would be about almost half of Minnesota, other folks who are like fur traders and land speculators, like really sort of pressed Minnesota, the territory, and the U.S. government we want this treaty signed because we want access to those lands. So think about half of Minnesota now being open up to settlement, those would have been Dakota lands. And also, these are lands in northern Iowa and in the Dakotas as well. We often forget that some of this land is really before these states existed.
Is there a way, like today, Darlene, that Minnesotans can support some of these Dakota initiatives?
Yes. There are, because everyone in Minnesota has been impacted by these treaties. It is not just Dakota people who were impacted and not just people of the 1800s. We all either face the harms of these treaties or the benefits of these treaties. But what we can do today is, as Minnesotans learn more about the initiatives to visit some of the sites that are really important to Dakota people. So we have the Mendota site, which is at Fort Snelling State Park here in the Twin Cities. We have Iyekiyapiwin, which is where the Mendota Treaty was negotiated, and also an important place to Dakota people in Mendota Heights, which is a municipal park. Owamini is where St. Anthony Falls is, another important place to Dakota people, kind of in downtown Minneapolis, and they are doing tours and all kinds of new work there. Iyekiyapiwin, which is in St. Paul and is part of Bruce Vento Nature Sanctuary, also has a new center with interpretation. Minnewaysnee is near Minnehaha Falls and is a sacred site to Dakota people, as well as Hey Minnie Cha, which is in the Red Wing area and talks about an important site for Dakota people in that region. So throughout Minnesota, throughout the Dakota homelands, we have interpretation that's happening today, and Dakota people working with non-native neighbors and allies to sort of interpret the old history and the ongoing history of Dakota people in their homelands.
Well, Darlene, this has been really informative. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you.
If you would like to learn more about the treaty, if you'd like to visit one of the sites that Darlene mentioned or learn more about any of them, you can head to our website, minnesotalive.com. We'll post a link for you there. More right after this.